Welcome back to the channel. We've got two absolute legends that I know have been dying. They've been ripping the pages off the calendar as quick as I have all the way through summer. You guys will be catching up to date with all their content as well. You'll know all about them. Of course, it's none other than Cani and NepentheZ. Guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, all good to be here again.
Yes, very happy about this one.
Absolutely buzzing. And yeah, we're just kind of talking there before coming on. Just about getting back to business, getting the season started again. And for like a lot of Sorare managers are now, like it is like Christmas Eve. We're almost there now. Like you guys obviously played around at the back end of the European season last year. How excited are you at this point?
I mean, first of all, the summer was great. I won 0 rewards, despite buying a bunch of players. But I learned a lot about like MLS in the Asian regions. So I guess hopefully I can use that to my advantage next time. But now I feel like I'm in a really good spot for the European season. And I just genuinely can't wait for football to come back and just be sat here, watch 4 games at the same time, have 1 on the iPad, 3 on monitors.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
Oh, it's going to be crazy, man. What about you, NepentheZ?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I open up the Sorare Sharp calendar every day, even though I know it's like just one day different. And to see all of the leagues like basically upon us is real nice.
Yeah.
My experience throughout the summer wasn't the best in terms of rewards. What I found difficult and what I'm finding difficult now with so many players available to me is finding the right matchups, finding the right fives is nearly impossible because you want to believe in every 5, but at the same time, not everyone's going to have a good game. So when I've got like podiums sitting there, but spread out between like 3 or 4 teams, it's like pain, So hopefully, my first week back into Challenger Europe Rare Pro, I finished second and got Sesko. And I think Jota was the first place guy. But I think I'm more pleased with Sesko now because he's got a lot more long-term potential, I think. Yeah. So, really happy with my result there and hopefully more to come.
Yeah, I think Sesko's probably, I think that boy that just went to Bayern Munich maybe has a wee shot at the claim for the title, but I think Sesko's probably the best rookie forward of that season that we've just finished, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So to get a rookie card of somebody of that caliber, I think it's a fantastic pull, So
that's a shout and a half. Bayern Munich need a striker to build up, and they like to hold on to strikers for a lot of years, so that'd be sick.
Yeah, because that other guy that they signed, the boy from Rennes, that's a rookie card for him on the platform as well. So maybe if he kicks on, maybe that's something. But I like the Sesko a lot. It was a big card to win. And finishing second, I said this to Sam Ty. I was chatting with him yesterday. I know obviously you've podiumed before in NepentheZ, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's my third, second place. Yeah.
Yeah, but you always forget about the ETH. You always forget about the cash that comes with it. You're always looking at the reward pool, and what did you do with the cash? Did you withdraw it, buy something? Would you?
No, I bought a Super Rare Chiellini.
Did you just say withdraw? Come on, man.
I think there would be a nice withdrawal goal down the line. But I bought a Super Rare Chiellini. I do want to get Bale as well. I actually had an offer from a relatively new, but he seems to be buying up a lot. He spent a lot of ETH in the last like 3 or 4 weeks. He offered me 2.1 ETH for Sesko, and I turned it down. And he bought it from somebody else for 2.2 ETH. And I thought, man, that could be I could have done a lot with that. But I think with the extra excess I got for like the cash, I bought Super Rare Chiellini. I want to get Gareth Bale as well, and because I've already got Carlos Vela, so I want that kind of like LA half stack. Yeah, and so I'm trying to sell off some of the other rewards from the summer to try and fund that.
That's beautiful, man. That sounds like a good. So what's a Super Bale go for these days?
Oh, I don't know about him. I just want his rare.
It's just a rare, sorry.
Sorry,
misunderstood, sorry.
Yeah, so we're going to play in Rare Pro with Steve Clark, Super Rare goalkeeper.
Oh, nice.
And then, Chiellini, Super Rare with, it'll probably be Mukhtar, Bell and Vela.
Very interesting point it comes on to, talking to both of you guys, in fact. Huge champions of the Super Rare goalkeeper in D3. New Matrix. What about Super Rare goalkeepers? Is that maybe an extra edge still now in today in the new world that we're going to come into? What do you think about that?
I personally think like the weeks you hit, it's going to be even better than before. And the weeks where you don't, it's going to be even more painful. So the highs are going to be higher, the lows are going to be lower, because that just seems to be the way it is for most goalkeepers when you look at their scores, especially in the ones that are in like some somewhat decent teams.
Sure.
So if you can get clean sheets, it's genuinely just going to come down to like playing the matchup game right. Like those weeks where you're extremely confident that your, I don't know, second place team playing against a 16th place team at home. At that time, you're going to be putting all your best players into that lineup with that goalkeeper. So I feel like now playing matchups has become even more important than ever before. And also, defensive stacks are going to be very volatile, right? So clean sheet, you're bang on for a reward already. Yep. Or it's the week done, basically. It's going to be quite interesting seeing that.
For sure. And so, NepentheZ, have you got Super Rare Johnson as well?
I have, mate. Yeah, he's a big winner from the new goalkeeper
I think
matrix.
He is the winner. Like, I think he does everything, man. He touches all the bases. You know, he does everything. You know,
I looked at the old matrix, new matrix, and he gets about like a 8-9% increase when he keeps a clean sheet.
Yeah,
but I think across the board, the kind of like you got your stars, tier 1s and down. I think all of them just lose out massively. Like even like Steve Clark, I've got. He is a great scorer because he makes a lot of saves. He gets a lot of sweeper keepers, and obviously he concedes a lot of goals, but very rarely that third goal for the negative decisive. Mm-hmm. Now with this new change, it just kills him. You know, on a game week where he might get 65 points just because he's making good saves and conceding less than 3, he'll now get like 40 points or something, and it sucks, to be honest.
Yeah. No. I think it is quite harsh, the actual point number that's been attributed to it. I think we're all kind of. I said it somewhere like. I think maybe for goalkeepers, maybe let them have the first one because otherwise, like the AA is basically 31, you know, because almost every keeper concedes a goal, you know, like a clean sheet is a decisive for a reason, you know.
Yeah, I think the best way to navigate would have been keeping the goalkeepers the same until after they get that negative decisive, and then docking them points for every goal after that.
Yeah, I heard you saying that in the video. In fact, because you were showing somebody that get hammered like 7-0 or something, eh?
Yeah, and if you the Salzburg goalkeeper, if you get an error leading to a goal and concede 7 goals, you don't deserve any points. Yeah. But he walked away with like 35 points. Like it's a joke.
Yeah, for sure, man. So it was one thing that I thought I would bring up when talking to you because I know he's both rock the super rare goalkeeper kind of thing, and I think I don't know. I think those kind of even those middle of the road scores, but it might give that super rare an extra edge because like, let's say the field of goalkeepers averaging 42. You know, if your guy is bringing in also 42, but he's getting jacked up to 48 or whatever it becomes, that can be a separator between tier 2 reward and a tier 1. Maybe not get you into the upper ends, you know, but
yeah. That's why I just bought Osaka's super rare.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, I swapped my Hadel, took my profits off of him, a rare one,
nice.
A little bit of ETH on top, and got myself Osaka super rare because I feel like outfield super rares for under 23s are just incredibly expensive right now.
For sure.
And I'm going to go with Osako, Kamara, super rares, and then pair them up with the likes of Kökçü and Magno and these guys. It just feels like it won't hurt me as much now when my goalkeeper concedes. But because before with the rare, if he concedes, like, let's say 2 goals, not necessarily a negative decisive, he's already down to like, 28 points if he doesn't necessarily pass the ball around a bunch. But now he's going to be looking good as a super rare. I can still pick up like at least 50 points in a game where he doesn't have a negative decisive. And that doesn't kill lineups. Like, that's the thing. Like, the guys that I have can easily get to like 80 to 90 points if that game week they have a good matchup. And I feel like that super rare play is very underrated. Shout out to Surface. He always is the guy that tells me about it. And the Osaka deal was basically because of him as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And what about you, Quinny, mate? What are you got super rare goalkeepers set up? Like,
I'm actually in a bit of a pickle with that. So I got a Viviano super rare goalkeeper the other day. Because
good shout.
Yeah, like I think he should play. He's a decent enough scorer. I've actually not even thought about him until this very moment for the Matrix. So I'll actually have a wee peek at him as I'm kind of sharing that. But I only kind of ran into that because I went for the Mulgrew unique auction because I thought, he's 35. It's not going to go for too much money. And it didn't, but it did. It's one of those few times, guys, where I actually stuck to my guns and I'm like, no, I'm not bidding again. But at this point, I'd also stayed up to 3:30 in the morning to try and snipe it. I'd went proper on like principle. I was like, no, like he's 35. Like we put a line in the sand on this. And then before I went to bed, small digression, I ended up buying a Carl's Elena super rare for 0.12. So I just thought it was a great price for a champ mid. Sorry, my camera's just and anyway, and then I woke up in the morning. And the guy that won the auction sent me a trade offer for Mulgrew for Timo Werner. And I was kind of like, yeah, fuck it. Like, I don't need Timo Werner.
Rare Werner.
Yeah. I was like, he was valued about 0.8 on the market with I think he's had some links and stuff. So the guy's probably sold him for he paid 0.6 for the Mulgrew. So the guy's probably done quite well out of it. But I woke up in the morning and I thought, yeah, fuck it, I would do that. And so anyway, I had to kind of run out, and I need a super rare challenger keeper now. So I've got an extra unique that will play, and he's not going to get ahead of my unique McGregor, of course, ever. So I had to kind of make that happen, and I kind of had some other bits and pieces lying around, like forward cards for Celtic that might come off the bench that I won't be playing in an optimal team or whatever. Yada yada. But so I've got that going into a D2, and my other super rare keepers for D2 as well. I've just not. I don't think I could go for a super anywhere below that. I still kind of, I think, need one more super to play in D2, depending on what the unique Denis Suarez does. So I think, like, actually for the strategy for you, but you guys have got with both of these, as well as kind of perhaps folk like me, kind of these super rare keepers, that may be a part of the market. Because, like you were saying there, like you sold a rare Heidel and got the super rare Osako. So there can be disparities in the market that way, and sometimes that can be a great elevator for mid-range teams to get like a goalkeeper optimal.
Do you think we'll see a shift in the price of super rare goalkeepers now from like the traditional 2x from the rare to especially the premiums to maybe 3 or 4x now because of how important those clean sheets are?
I suppose it really could, quite easily because if you've got them, because the thing that really moves a lot of prices for like SO5 cards is like I always think about like the things that really move prices is what the big accounts do, really, right? And the most well-known big account that I think we can all at least try and imagine being in their position is PSU fans, just by how big he is and kind of successful and whatever on the leaderboards and whatever. And if he was to go and get a guy, he does want like 2 or 3 versions of them. And that's really what pushes the price, because 2 guys decide they want 3 of somebody, and then they have to go out to the market and like a bill in a China shop, basically.
Yeah, one guy just bought 3 Trents.
There you go.
Right?
Exactly. That's
By the way, real quick, I just saw this, but like All-Star, this upcoming game week, no more comments.
Yeah.
That's it. So that's going to be quite interesting to see how that impacts the market.
Thoughts on this for both of you guys, because I didn't really get to talk to many people about it, but some guy tweeted me with like an understanding of the breakdown of how threshold grinders work, and with the new scoring matrix, those kind of like 50 to 60 point defenders that were so cheap because they were so common, and then your low tier goalkeeper, whether it be common or now rare, but would still get 30 or 40 points on an average day, even if for a bad team. Do you think it is a move from so rare to stop so many people from getting ETH because they have absolutely killed that low end of the ability to get the cheap players getting those big points?
I think so. I personally think so, because like you have those goalkeepers, the commons. A lot of people have the common goalkeepers that probably will get more points than their rare goalkeepers now.
Yeah.
Because a bunch of people have Alissons and such that get like those 70, 80 point games, and that would be like 40, 45 points. Now they will have those young Kwangs who get 10 points a game. And the defenders will, if you don't have the ones that benefit from the matrix and that don't play for really good teams, which is what a lot of people have for ETH threshold grinding, it's going to be a big issue.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a big drop from 250 points to 205.
Yeah, I would agree, because there's so many defenders that get you 50 points without even really trying, that are now going to suffer, obviously, a 10, 20% penalty on the passing, but also 4 points per goal conceded now instead of just 2. And I think it makes a world of difference when you've got 2 of your players now potentially getting 15 or 20% points less overall when you're scraping those 250s. And what it does, in my opinion, is it just makes those players even more worthless, because people won't care for them. They're not even threshold grinders anymore.
Yep.
And just even more separates that gap between being competitive in rare and not.
I would agree.
And I think it's the same at the top, right? The ones with the Noyas, with the Magnons, with the, with the ones that really benefit from this and play for a good team with a good defense in front of them, those guys will be getting the rewards, with the odd clean sheet for certain players, of course. But like generally, on average, it's going to be extremely important to have a very good back line if your goalkeeper is in that team.
Yeah.
for sure.
What
You're not
was your
just
train
buying
of
the
thought there,
goalkeeper.
Quinny?
You're buying the entire defense at this point.
Yeah. What was that? Sorry, Hank, you were asked me something, or
So what was your train of thought there? You was going to say something.
Yeah, I think see the goalkeeper scores now on the new matrix because of the negative decisives and how they kind of run down. We are going to get rare goalkeepers that score the exact same as the way commons used to, in terms of the mark they make on the leaderboard for your team. And I think it's maybe a happy accident from Sorare, the business's perspective, when they've been drawing this out, they've worked out the scoring differences and all the rest of it. And then they go, right, okay, so let's plan this out. How would this look? And then they'll go, oh, well, threshold becomes harder. And then they just kind of go, great.
Nice.
And it's just one of those ones where, it's one of those things that puts more merit on the victory, I guess, as well. It's, makes it one of those things that, bagging threshold is a much more exciting thing to go for. Because I think some people do find it relatively mundane, just plugging in, 50 defenders, 45 midfielders, and a forward that gets 35 and get the right captain and a goalkeeper doesn't die and you're there, It's not
basically, yeah.
It's not too exciting, so maybe it adds a wee bit more of a thrill into that capture, But yeah, I think as well, maybe I'm pretty sure it was when I literally heard this today. I was listening to somebody earlier on, but they were saying that when you look at all the averages for all the new scores and everything, over a season, it is 1 or 2 point swings and stuff like that. But when you do look at guys like Sean Johnson, for example, Sean Johnson gains 5 80+ scores or something like that.
Yeah.
And so on the individual game basis, I think if you do have even a crap guy, but if you do have a crap guy that has a worldie, then it will show up, it should show up much better, and it's not just, oh, my guy had a worldie and he got a clean sheet and he only ended up with 62 or something, or 64, because that's happened to me sometimes where you're like, oh, the goalkeepers, I don't know, maybe they've got booked or something stupid's happened that's maybe took a couple of points off them for saves or something meaningful they've done. So,
yeah, I think I spoke about it in the video that you would have watched as well, and I really, really, really think it's important for Sorare to make a discrepancy between a save and a great save.
Yeah.
And the easiest way to do that is just have big chances missed that are saved, scored as big chances saved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I never understood why 1v1 saves are not being given 5 points or something.
Yeah.
That's the best thing a goalkeeper can do. When someone's through, past the defense, 1v1 against the goalkeeper, he makes himself big, positions himself well, saves it.
2 points. Yeah.
2 points.
Yeah.
Hey, nice. Thanks, man. That's literally the hardest job.
That's the last man tackle, even when
Decisive.
there's a goalkeeper there. Oh, you get 25 points, mate. Well done.
Makes no sense.
Yeah. I think that's maybe one of the main things that came out of the Matrix change that most people were upset with is there's still some of those contradictions, I asked them a question, they never got back to me, on the actual posting for it, because they were talking about they're changing the negative decisives. I didn't really fully realise at first they'd added in new layers. I just thought they'd made it easier for people to fall down, basically. But I was asking them, what about positive? If you win the penalty and score it, do you get double bubble? They never get back to me. So I'm hoping maybe, some of those contradictions, as you say, if you don't get the penalty won, if the penalty gets missed, but the defender that still caused the penalty is still penalised negatively.
Yeah.
So I was a wee bit disappointed some of those balances never came out.
Yeah, same with handball penalties. If you cross the ball in and a defender handballs it, that's your doing. You should get the penalty one for that, even though you didn't actually get fouled.
I agree. Because that could have been an assist.
Exactly, yeah. And the same as in terms of assists. Don't get me started on own goals that don't credit the assist to the person that last touched the ball.
I still remember your Müller one.
It just pains me, man, because it's if a player just whips a ball in and the defender heads it in, he still assisted it. he didn't all of a sudden not do anything for it.
I totally agree. I think there's maybe a wee problem with that. See, sometimes on flash scores, I have seen an assist credit with an OG next to it. Maybe twice or something. It's not something I've noticed often, but I have noticed it. So maybe it's just one of those stats. I don't know. It's just hard to capture. But imagine you did get that. How amazing would that be as well?
Yeah,
because it is kind of right. And
I do understand that they probably have got a lot of they probably run algorithms over so many years of games and stuff, and it might just put a really big discrepancy on certain players if they get those things to the point where it's look, if if they did add those, you might have like a handful of players that are just 100 points per game style players. And it's like, look, we can't have that. It just makes an imbalance everywhere else.
Yeah, it does make sense.
I think talking about 100-point players, Cani and I definitely don't see eye to eye on this subject, right? But I think I briefly talked to you about it before, Quinny, but I think that the introduction of all these new leagues, specifically like Challenger Europe leagues, where there are standout teams and in those teams standout players, I don't like that, basically, because I think it is devaluing 60 and 70 point players, because if you don't have 100, 90, 80 point players, you got no chance. Like this week alone, I got 5 lineups over like 330 points and I got 1 tier 3. That's it. And it's like, I can't compete. Even with my insane teams, I can't compete.
It's tough. I think like the only kind of thing to that is just waiting for the prize pools to get bigger, because I think that's the only thing that changes really is, I've had weeks before different competitions and different times of the year and whatever, but I'm pretty sure like Challenger Euro last year, I got around to 400 point mark and came away with nada.
That's tough.
It's, so I think it's just more the places that get paid out, because even in those situations I was coming like maybe, I don't know, 42nd or something, and it's just the prize pool goes to 30 and tough shit, that is what it is when you go into it. So I think that's the only real cure for that. I think more competitions but then you've just got more choice and more headaches. And then if you don't play the right team in the right competition where 330 points would have got you a tier 1, but you played it here and it got you nothing,
Yeah.
Is what comes into it then, so it's a hard one to think about for me. Sorry. Like
I was in general, like I Cani said at the very start of this pod here, like he's excited to talk to you about your Celtic stacks. I personally, I don't think stacks should be allowed. I know some of the competitions are maximum 1 or maximum 2 players from one club, but I think there should be a general rule of thumb of maximum, say, 2 players from any particular club. Because you're going to have those whales at any level now. Even in like the specialists, like you can easily find a Celtic player or 2 Celtic players that fit the under 40 or the mid tier, and then the one higher one. And if Celtic just go and play, whoever it may be, Hibs or Dundee or something, and just batter them 7 or 8-0, you're taking you're just taking an elite team into a competition that is supposed to be for people that can't have elite teams. So I really dislike the ability to just stack up teams, because the Wales in like D2 and D3 now, the guy that I talked to you about before that offered me for Sesko, he's just gone and bought a Salzburg under 23 stack, and it's like he's just going to dominate whatever division he plays at, and he's just going to dominate it because people can't compete.
I've always thought the optimal strategy is always just to pick the best player from any squad you want and mash them together. I've just kind of had to, when Celtic comes out, I kind of just need to get as much as I can, as quick as I can, for as long as I can, sort of thing. So I'm kind of like, my hands are tied on my kind of strategy in that sense at this point in time. But my strategy has always been like, kind of like what you guys did with your Asian and American strategy, like get Hill, get Cecilia, get like the best guys you possibly can. I'm maybe a wee bit more of a fan of trying to get guys that are like, maybe they'll be better next year, because that's just, my kind of thing and all the rest of it. But I think that's always been the best strategy. And I think that if that becomes the game style that is the most successful, then overall I'll probably be quite happy with that. I think these underdogs and specialists kind of force the issue, which is nice. And I've always kind of said as well, like I think especially when Bayern really their stacking power was the first one that really came. Them and Kawasaki kind of both came out at the same time as a power stack, and the game mode that we've got, like the All-Star region, especially for me, like in like maybe 3 years from now or something, it'll just be known as like hardcore mode or something, where it's just anything goes, do what you want in here, and we'll have all these other modes everywhere else, but it is like, no more than, I think it's a very reasonable rule for Sorare to have no more than 4 from the one team, because I think like that's a basic, like if I opened Sorare today and it said, and I put 5 Celtic cards in, it said, sorry, max from one team's 4, I would definitely not even think twice, wouldn't blink, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. 3, maybe some people ask questions. 2, maybe it pisses some folk off. But I think 4, no one even thinks twice, just go, okay, I understand that.
That makes sense.
But I think that's the best way to go about it. So if stacking becomes suboptimal, because like the problem I'm realising with Celtic is like, you either need to go and get multiples, like we were talking about earlier, with Wales crashing markets and stuff, or making markets, as it were. You either need to go and get multiples and play like horizontally, like across like the pro divisions, or go up and down and get supers and limiteds or whatever. And that's not easy or cheap for like big teams. So I think what you'll find is like some people like going forward, because of the price of some, to assemble the full thing to make it what it is. So I keep noticing my light keeps changing. I'm sorry. Would you cry it? I think more of those pieces will get isolated naturally, where it does become a thing where, like, really, if you're going to build a Celtic stack, right, you're talking about buying Joe Hart, one of the most expensive keepers, Carter Vickers, probably the most expensive defender, and then your pick of forwards who are amongst very expensive options. There's so many options now where it's like, well, we don't really need Joe Hart at 2 ETH. Maybe you can get this guy at 1.2, and then do you need Carter Vickers at 2.5 ETH when you can get this guy at 1.8? And then naturally it's just, oh, well, I've got Jota, he's my Celtic guy, and I've got whoever else. And I think that will probably be what kind of happens throughout this season.
That most definitely is my strategy. Like I spent, when I bought the Bayern stack February, when I seemingly put the most money into Sorare at the absolute peak.
And into Lewandowski.
Yeah, and a lot of it into Lewa, a lot of it into Kimmich. Like it was just, but not even just those. Like I was looking at all of the players that I bought. Your camera went off, Cani, there. I don't know if you know. All of the players I bought, whether they were rare, limited, whatever it may be, I just paid a premium because I bought them at the height. But when I bought that Bayern stack, I noticed like very quickly it didn't perform how I wanted it to perform, just because I had the 5. Like if Muller had a shocker or didn't start or got subbed off in the 45th minute or something, all of a sudden the whole lineup was killed. And I would at best get like a tier 3, if anything at all. And it really made me change over the last 5 months my strategy of I don't really go for the power player anymore. I know Haber spent a long time like developing his gallery. He's now got like the Neymar and the Nkunku, and he's got like the superstars. But I think there is, okay, it's a little bit more tangible because you are getting a few less results here and there, but I much prefer the high point scorers that just don't have a popular name. And we did talk about this before, but like for whatever reason, the Turkish league just get poo-pooed on. People just don't respect it at all. And you can get like the same scorer from the Turkish league for a fraction of the price from like the Scottish league or the Eredivisie or something like that. So I definitely looked into a lot more of that this year.
I think the main reason why a lot of people kind of turned away from Turkey is because the biggest clubs over there haven't performed in the last 3 years or whatever. Like the Beşiktaş, Galatasaray, Fener and such have been struggling to keep up with others that have new money. And I think that's what mainly holds people back, because if it was a Fener or Gala or something really dominating, I think a lot more people would be buying players from over there, just like they're doing now with Celtic. But those teams just haven't been there like they used to. Whatever it might be with financial situations and, being banned from Europe and not being able to pay players. Like these things keep on happening in Turkey. And I feel like the hardest thing with the Turkish division is to buy long term, because you just don't know what's going to happen with these players after that one season that you have them for. So ideally, like you said, now might be the time to maybe see the first game, see who's performing, which team is doing well, which team you like, the first couple of games, and then making an educated decision. So Turkey could be a huge play once you really spend a little bit of time getting
especially
to know
with
the
a lot
league.
of the under-23s they pulled over there. Like they just, Muleka's over there now. Jedson's over there now. Like they got
both in the same team.
yeah.
And that's a division you can cherry pick across. You can go and get the 5th best goalkeeper for X amount, and then you can go and get the 2nd best defender, the 3rd best mid, 2 good strikers, and then every week you're pushing 350, 400 off a. It doesn't need to be from the one collection, or it's and so I think Turkey's great for that. I actually messed about with Turkey and limiteds last year, kind of doing that way, like just buying guys that kind of looked okay, I knew nothing about because they were a couple of quid and it was a giggle, but when you actually go and hunting in there, like Lucas Bigley, I was a hero to a lot of people as well, so it's a great league, and it's just I think it's just really unfashionable and unfancied. Like I think quite famously, I think when quite a lot of people came on the platform, Russian league was just kind of out of season. It was in a winter break and stuff like that, and a lot of people really made good use of Russian. It feels like maybe over the last week that's kind of happened again. But I feel Turkey and maybe Austria had a wee bit of that before as well. But I think Turkey will kick on in a big way, like in terms of the power players that came out of that are good bang for buck. Everyone's telling me about this guy Guilherme as well.
I think Russia is going to be insane this season for specific teams because so many of their foreigners have left.
Yep.
And you have teams like Zenit with unreal squads compared to others at this point. They are just going to destroy everyone. So you now have a new Ajax over there in Russia now. Like, you're going to get at least 3 to 4 players with 60 plus at least in every single game. You're going to have that Douglas Santos, even without decisives. That guy's insane. Mm-hmm. You're going to have the striker. I can't remember his name right now, but like there's a couple of players in there that are just going to be so strong, like Malcolm and such. Like, good luck competing against those in Challenger or anywhere, basically. But what I was hoping for, like, to Nep's point from earlier on with like the new leagues being added and such, I just hope they increase the price, the rewards, the prize pools. And from what I've seen, game week 296, when everyone is coming back together again, it's 725 rewards in All-Star Rare. I don't think I've ever seen that high of a number.
Now? Oh, really? I've seen the calendar thing came out earlier before we came on to record, but I haven't opened it yet. I'll just go and
I think game week 296, where like all the Europeans are back as well, it's 725 rares in All-Star Rare.
There's 420 for 292.
Yeah, because like the top 5 leagues aren't back yet. It's only Belgium and Russia at this point, or Austria as well. And then game week 96, we
145 for All-Star Rare Pro is big. We've never had over 130 in that division, to my recollection.
So I like that we are seeing progress there. Like, I would have been very disheartened if we saw the usual, 630, which it is in game week 294, I believe.
Class,
so yeah, I'm really happy with the fact that we have that much of a huge prize pool at that point.
Yes, it looks good, doesn't it?
And that's where like our investment of like the MLS and Asian players can come in clutch. Yeah, because you can still use them while these Europeans are going to be in the prize pool. So if you have those Hills and Cecinias who might have not performed lately, but if they get back to their usual self, there could be some massive scores there and some big rewards to be picked up. But then again, of course, you have all the other ones joining in as well, like the Ajaxes and all these guys of this world. But at least you might make it into rewards because the rewards pool is bigger.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, the 296 looks like some game week. And Jesus, man, yeah, that looks good, top to bottom, and even the limited divisions are like All-Star Limited 2,700 as well. That's tasty.
Yeah, a lot of rewards.
Yeah, I genuinely think for anyone that plays the rare division, playing Special Limited is the most important division to play in from this point on.
Special Limited 900 cards in game week 296.
Jesus Christ.
Last week they won Lewandowski, mate. First place got Lewandowski.
Level rare. Yeah, well, that's what I said to you on stream, right, Chani? So I've got a couple of guys that are in my stream that got into So Rare through me and through Chani for a bit as well. And they exclusively play Specialist Limited and Specialist Rare.
Makes sense.
And or just in general, the lowest, like,
wherever
you can win the best card from with the lowest entry point. Because, like, one of the guys won a tier 1 super rare from putting in 5 limiteds. And it's like, these guys are getting better results than me, and they're having more fun because they're actually scouting teams and trying to find the new under 40s. And like, one of the guys got the under 40s goalkeeper about 3-4 weeks ago, and he's now the goalkeeper in Brazil that's taking penalties for the team.
100 points.
He's made like 10 times his value, and he got him 100 points one of the game weeks. And it's like, like he ended up winning a tier 1 rare because his goalkeeper scored 2 penalties. It's like, to me, that's way more fun than, let me pick my traditional under 23 rare pros, my traditional this, my traditional that. This is like, okay, what can we build that will actually be fun to watch this week?
Yeah. I'm definitely like investing a little bit into Special Limited coming up. That's for sure something that anyone that plays the rare division has to play in. Just makes sense.
Yeah.
Because like the return on investment is just massive.
The same for Specialist Rare, like the fact that you can win tier 1 super rares, and I like the fact that, I don't know if it was an accident or what for this week, but you can get a star rare as the last reward as well. I thought was really good.
I don't know if
it's still there now. Game week 292. There you go. Underdog super, not super rare.
No, Specialist Rare only has tier 1 super rare in podium.
Oh, you get star rare on the podium, Underdog super rare as well.
Yeah,
Underdog.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so they've changed that now. That wasn't there. That was the last like reward spot before.
Yeah.
However, I still really like that.
Yeah.
Because a star rare and a tier 1 super rare all of a sudden is like, okay, I now might consider going like using my super rares in Underdog Super Rare instead of in like, one of the super rare competitions, the All Star or something like that.
And the thing is, like, there's only 230 participants so far, and there's 14 places that get rewarded. That's not too bad.
Yeah, and do you know, Quinny, every time I watch your like live streams or your videos, you're always really big on scrutinizing the reward pools and which tournament is best to enter based on that and stuff. But from my experience with the reward pools, I find that the non-all-star like entries are way better because you are fighting against a really condensed amount of people or still very good rewards. And typically speaking, because everybody else prioritizes all-star, they're putting their second string players or their lesser teams into those other divisions, which is why I prioritize them. What are your thoughts on that?
I think, that definitely happens. And I think it's like my kind of attitude, and I think we spoke about this before, but my kind of attitude to super rares at first was I wanted to kind of get super rares that were a wee bit too good for me. So then they would be really good for my situation. And I think if you have like kind of any card in that situation, really, like, or not have a card, but if you put the card in that situation, like if I played my rare Jota and Kyogo in any like D4 division, like that would be insanely like OP. It would probably do really well. How many people are going to play those cards in a D4? Probably like none, as you say. So if that's the kind of card you drop into that situation, then, or in scale, what we're relatively talking about, then you get a huge advantage on the field because typical holders of that card, again, you try and put yourself into. You can look at most of the time who owns these cards. When you see it's like all these guys that play D1s and whatever. These supers, just if that's who it is, they're getting sucked up here. So if you're playing them in the D3, you're probably one of 3 people in that level and that bandwidth, and then you're an all-star and they're in America and somebody else is in U23 with it.
I even mean in so in D3 this week, All-Star Pro has 90 rewards,
cool,
and 1,200 participants so far.
Sure.
And it pays stars down to 15, tier 1s down to 65, tier 2s down to 90, which is very good. Mm-hmm. But Challenger Europe Pro, there's only 276 participants, so 1/5 of the participants, but there's 50 rewards there. So like a high amount of rewards, and the stars pay down to 13 and the tier 1s down to 37. So it's the stars pay down to the same amount. The tier 1's just about half the amount, but you are fighting against way less. Now, of course, if you haven't got a Challenge Europe team in, and that's why you're in All-Star Pro, that's where you're at. But when people are like, oh, you shouldn't be putting your best super rare in Challenger Europe Rare Pro, you should be going in All-Star. I think actually I should be going in Challenger Europe because I'm going to be giving myself the absolute best chance of winning a star. And from what I understand, the star pools are really similar, and you don't mind winning a Challenger Europe star. That's how I got Sesko, and Jota and Carter Vickers and Hearts and stuff like that are coming through now.
Yep.
These guys are as valuable almost as like your Mbappe's and Haaland's and Neymar's and stuff.
Yep, for sure.
Especially in terms of point scoring, maybe not in terms of like ETH and value, but in terms of like scoring, they're as good.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I agree as well. And the thing about the Challenger pool is because especially right now, because Champion Europe isn't back yet, that star limit, so what I'd be looking at this is, the star rare count is 13, All-Stars 15, the difference is negligible versus the difference in the field, as you say. But the one thing that would I'm just thinking about me individually, right? When I look at this, right, there's 277 entrants for 50 rewards, as you say, and we've got like Salzburg, we've got Celtic and all these other teams playing. Of that 277 people that are registered, I'm just going to say in my head, I think probably about 200 to 250 of them are probably relatively competitive lineups to go into the top 50. Whereas with All-Star Pro, even though that's at 200, I don't know if that number is really that different.
So you still think there'd be around 200 to 250 competitive lineups in All-Star?
Because again, I agree with your logic on the super rare play, but again, you'll have so many of those entrants on the reverse of that logic, playing their throwaway team up a level just because they can, then it's just a training lineup or whatever. So the headcount numbers do get skewed, with entries in terms of how actually competitive some of them are. So I don't know. I think I don't let the actual headcount bother me. I just think about how good I think my team's going to be, and if I think I'm going to get top 50, then is the top 50 in Challenger better than the top 50 in All-Star Rare? And if I can't imagine myself getting top 50 with the team I've got, or maybe top 100, then Challenger Pro is not even on the table because top 100 is nothing, you know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way I would think about that, if that makes sense.
I think
good. You stay out of Challenger Pro, mate. That's
I was about to say, like, because like when you look at the Sorare Data podcast and they talk about Hill and everyone playing Hill in America being stupid, I think it's the same thing with like Challenger and other regions. Obviously, a lot more people might put decent players into Challenger because there are really good rewards in there. But I feel like if you have that Celtic stack, don't you put it into like All-Star Rare Pro rather than Challenger to be able to possibly win that Messi, win that Neymar, win that Mbappe? I feel like most people who have that great matchup will probably put it into All-Star Pro to gain the most out of it. Because if you get 500 points out of your Celtic stack for 1 week and you put it into Challenger Europe Pro, you're going to think, oh man, why did I not put this into All-Star? Like, I could have won so much more. So I think Nep's onto something there because, like, generally, from what I've seen so far, everyone seems to prioritize All-Star, and me included.
Yeah.
And like him having that much success in those specific regions, and not necessarily with like insane scores as well. It shows like you can actually, if you want to prioritize those regions and you play the matchups well, you might be in for a good reward there.
Totally.
And I feel like everyone has been so like trained to think All-Star is the place to be. All-Star is the place to be, me included. And I feel like it could be a play to play those regions specifically.
I agree.
Looking at my 288 scores. So 288, I got 428 points and finished second in Challenge Europe Rare Pro. 428 points.
Nice.
I think
That's not that high, I feel.
It's not. I don't think it's too high either. Let me have a look at All-Star Rare Pro.
Definitely a worthy score, I would say, but
yeah. It's not. I mean, for podium, I normally expect like 440 and above.
Yeah,
especially with the teams you have in Challenger.
All-Star Rare Pro was like, won't show me above. Would I say 428 points would have got me 9th place? I'm going to find out what this guy got as his reward.
Let's see.
Traveling Pizza. What a great name.
That's a solid name.
Oh, I think Sorare Data's. Oh, hold on. I could just
Sorare Data's
account, can't I?
crushed right now.
I can tell you it's because I am like the nexus of the Celtic Sorare community that there is going to be a lot of entries in Challenger Pro. People have sent me teams and stuff. So if you think you'll totally avoid them in Challenger Pro, maybe not this game week, because I know, and again, by this video will be out Friday, so it'll be after the deadline. So this isn't breaking news or any sort of edge or anything with anyone listening to this after the fact. But for a lot of people that have Celtic cards now, I know they're all very conscious of the fact that really there's not that many Celtic cards still, and a lot of people are trying to, run around and get away from me and get away from McBride and get away from Josh and whatever, so like I think maybe for the next game week or two, like you might see some random pop-ups here and there of like not me, but like somebody like, what are you doing playing D4, with somebody running away.
The guy that finished 9th ended up getting Trauner, who's worth just about an ETH, and I got Sesko for the same points for 2.2 ETH. Like that for me is why I would prioritize the lower divisions. Because I think, I don't know, and unless you've maybe got like Neymar's, Messi's, or like a Celtic stack or an Ajax stack or something like that, then potentially I'd go into All-Star. But if you're just picking like the best players for each position for your lineups, I think the actual secluded division is better bang for your buck.
Yeah. And seeing that kind of All-Star note, like that's definitely where my mantra, see what you just said in NepentheZ, that's what I used to do for All-Stars. I used to just say, this is get the best prize pool, so I don't care who any of the people are. I don't care if they're under 23, if they're in America or anywhere. They should, the best keeper he plays, the best defender he plays. And that was just always my kind of base attitude to it. And it kind of comes back to what we were saying earlier. I've always just liked the idea of, I'll buy All Black because I think he's the best keeper in the world. Don't really care about scores, but that's what I think. I'll buy him, and then I'll buy this guy because I think he's amazing. And then, I really want Goretzka because I think he's quality. And then I really like that striker. And that's how I want to build teams typically. And I think when it comes to All-Star, that was always my kind of base attitude. It's just kind of, unfortunately, naturally congregated that a lot of these guys are on the same team now. For me, not all my best cards.
So I'm assuming you're going to have Challenger and All-Star entries because you have so many of them, right?
I'm only playing Challenger D2 at the moment. That's why I got the Viviano. So so I can't use Viviano for 292. I'll be playing Van de Voort in D2. So
Okay.
I'm hoping it wins. So that team. So I got the Mulgrew unique for 0.6, which that guy paid 0.6 and I traded Werner, as I explained to you. So I got him.
I think that's a great value, by the way.
I think that's decent as well. And Mulgrew is actually better on the new Matrix as well.
Oh, yeah,
There you go.
Boom. So like the Mulgrew, Viviano, I traded him in for like not even a lot as well, like 0.6 or something, maybe even 0.8. It was not a lot of money in the grand scheme of things for Sorare. And then I traded somebody else in. I got two midfielders. I got a Ross McCrory at Hearts for 0.12 of an Ethereum, and then I got a Harks for like 0.2 or something like that. So basically, I got a super rare midfield for 0.3 in essence. Between the two of them, I'll be able to use one of them. And then I've got a Rio Hatate super rare forward and a Giacomakis super rare forward that, because different things, they might not be in my best team. So that's the D2 plate. And that team, it might only pay out 3 times a season, but I just hope it wins me a Celtic super rare, of some description. If it finishes first 1 week or something cool like that happens, then hopefully it's a super rare,
What do you think about Hatate in this upcoming season? Because I held on to his
fire
his card. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was looking at his super rare. I paid again in February, in the hype of everything, I paid £1,300 or £1,400 for his rare.
No, don't worry about
now
that.
his super rare is £500.
Right now?
Oh, it was last week.
It was
a
couple of weeks ago, yeah.
I should have maybe taken a wee boost up, because like when you look at the historical statistics for Hatate, like on the new Matrix and the old, like he does get a boost, right? But I, on top of that, think he will be markedly better. He'll score way better anyway. Like new Matrix, old Matrix doesn't matter this season anyway. Like he's looking really good. Like Japanese Modric is what I'm pushing all season.
Oh yeah.
If you hear that referred to anywhere else, that came from me. Yeah.
What do we call Maeda? Because I bought into Maeda just recently.
Oh,
so
Maeda.
I'm gonna be cheering on with you for Celtic, mate.
I don't know if we've got a nickname for Maeda sorted out yet, but Maeda, that'll be a great pickup. And I was really happy as well. Sorry to digress away from Challenger, but see, when I was watching you, Cani, and you went out and got Magno, I was so buzzing for you. I was like, what a card to go and get, man, because that is an apex card, like top to bottom.
Yeah.
And he looks quality. Like that guy is getting a move after the season 100%. There's no way he stays in the MLS, which could hurt me. But I can see him go to a decent challenger side and do well there as well. So that's my hope with him. But at least I want to utilize these 10, 12 game weeks of him being in the MLS. He's just quality.
Yeah, for sure. He's one of these guys that even European season on or off, he's a great U23 forward, So I think playing cards like that kind of ties into the whole thing, I suppose. Because again, some people might think even with that Magno, I know you've got American cards anyway. You could throw him into America once in a while when. Yeah. It's only a bad play. It's only a bad play if you would have helped another team and you won nothing. As long as you win, it's the best play you could have made. Because with your second example there, coming in with 428 points, that's going to be one of the key things that makes success this season, is playing your right score in the right field of scores.
Yeah, that's what I struggle the most with, man. I cannot make up my mind with lineups. I'll set them up. And I'll just delete them and go again, and then delete them and go again. And then I'm looking at some lineups, and I'm like, I knew I should have put him in that lineup, and I didn't. Yeah. But then sometimes I'm like, no, I'm content with this, and then it goes wrong as well. And it's just, what can you do, man? It's like I like the Haber approach of, I've got 3 concrete super lineups. They play exact same plays every week, every time. That's what I'm going with. I like that in terms of winning rewards. But I also love the underdog story, and I love the idea of having 15 or 20 lineups out there and just having a random one hit a podium and being like, yes, let's go. That was amazing. Watching that last game, seeing if your player does well, that is what makes the actual game fun, opposed to making it an ROI investment tool.
I love that as well. I think part of the balance of that, when you're going through teams, delete. I did that kind of set and forget approach through the summer. And it wasn't like Haber's done going getting Apex cards. It was just kind of the guys I had, I wasn't going to sell. It was just you can form between 1 and 3 teams every week, and whatever I can form, and just live and die by it. And I won my first reward this summer yesterday. Got a tier 1 rare. So just as it finishes the European off season, I come out with something. So Joe Willis I sold for 0.4, so it wasn't anything amazing. And, you know, it's something to be said for that, by the way. It's very low stress, very low maintenance. It is just really, you know, one or two guys. Is he fit? What did the manager say about that guy? Oh, well, screw him. It's going to be this guy then. And
Yeah.
that
I love the kind of theatre of finding out information and trying to like follow the news reporters. And now I've got like my tweet deck has got like 17 lines of me just searching all these players. Like, I need to know, is Slimani going to get game time somewhere else or not? I need to know. Is Gustavo Bo injured this weekend? I need to know. Like, rather than being like, oh, here we go. I've got your traditional easy players, your Apex cards, like you say, you know, okay, Neymar and Messi in there and that's it. Like, let me say it. Hope I win a reward. I might as well not even play the game at that point, you know?
Yeah. It's all about the chase, isn't it, as well, as you say?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it is fun. Like, I don't know. I feel like it would be kind of sad if I genuinely had all the best cards on the platform and I knew exactly which lineup I'm playing every single game week. Because even though I hate it, I also love resetting up my lineups 50 times before it happens. Like, that's the joy of it as well.
There's nothing worse than when you get a last minute bit of info that just pulls the one card out of the house of cards, you know.
On that note, for somebody like yourself that plays D2, and I know you have like good connections with the guys that are like play the D1s and stuff, thoughts on subs?
No.
Okay, thoughts on the ability to change a lineup up until the minute that the first game within that game week has played for that particular division?
I like the baseball rule, if that's what you mean by that. Like
kickoffs.
Yeah, I like that. As soon as like it was 1 hour to the first game, that's it. Boom, locks on. Like that.
Yeah, there's been a few times like I've had a guy come through injured at like 1:30 in the afternoon after the lineups are locked, but the first game isn't until 6 p.m. and it's like, why can't I change this?
Do you know what I just think is like all the press conferences has been come out British time between 11 and 2 p.m. It's when all the journalists get them, and then for anyone who doesn't know this, there's two kind of like, I don't know what the real word is for it, but it's kind of like watersheds. So they do the interview, and it's like the newspapers can say stuff in the first 12 hours, and then the TV can't say their bit for the next period thereafter. That's why you kind of get different news on different days. And anyway, so those interviews all tend to happen between 11 and 2 on a Friday. And some of them start to come out like 4 and 5 o'clock, but the first game isn't, like you say, till like 7 or 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Imagine the buzz on the timeline when all these reports are coming out and everyone's translating it, and it's like, you know, oh, that guy's not even in the squad, and It would be some buzz, you know. It'd be a real pantomime, you know, in terms of like getting all the news in before the deadline. And
I personally think there's a place for subs. Like, you know, when you get like a random DNP, especially when like I've captained every person I've captained for about the last 3 game weeks just hasn't played, and there just seems to be some weird curse I have. But like, you know, when a player doesn't travel with the team and you find out again before the game's even started, I know other people would benefit from it as well. And so probably the whales would benefit from it more. People with bigger galleries would 100% benefit from it more. Maybe even having like a game mode that allows subs, not necessarily everywhere, just to test it out and get a feel for whether it works, whether it's liked or not. Because, I think the amount of times I've missed out on like this week, game 290, I scored 331 points in All-Star Super Rare with a DNP captain. And so I'm like, if I could have just had anybody else there, I only needed like 50 points to get a reward. Basically, anybody that started would have got me a reward. That's pain.
That is brutal, man.
And I know everyone goes through it. Everyone suffers from the DNP lottery, but I would enjoy the ability to swap someone out.
I think you've kind of came to it. I think it will be like another mode. Like, again, like kind of comes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, I think the mode that we're in now, like in a couple of years, we'll just look at this as hardcore. You know, it's just everything goes, anything goes, live or die on deadlines and DNPs and all this stuff. It's just, this is brutal, this part of the game, you know. And as time goes on, there will be, I think, like maybe some sort of sub feature. Because I kind of like the way the Sorare data does it, but it's not obvious how you can appropriate that into SO5, because what if it's a defender or what if it's a goalkeeper and that kind of thing? Do you then have a full reserve lineup for your SO5? You know, it becomes a bit like, how do you actually achieve it almost, you know, with subs? Because otherwise you do then just have people going cherry picking through their gallery and reconfiguring their whole setup, you know?
I think at the same time, I think at the same time, we kind of undervalue maybe having that team that you had, Nep, that scored 390 points, right? Even though you didn't necessarily win a reward, all those players that have done well increased in value. So that's one thing you kind of have to look at as well, because like my most profits have been this summer through actually players doing well, but not necessarily making it into the same lineup. So their value goes up, and it obviously isn't as nice as clicking on the reward and opening it and seeing what you get. But at the same time, it's kind of, it's maybe a little bit undervalued to see like, oh, I actually have good players here. Yeah, I have a DMP, but the other ones have done well. Oh, camera is gone again. I don't know what the hell is going on. But like, it's going to be,
there we go.
I think it's something to really consider and look at and like, okay, I mean, my boys have done well.
It's nice that the players have gone up in value, or at least gone up in prestige or whatever. But I would prefer my bank balance to go up in value.
Of course, of course.
But also, there is definitely something to be said for there being no profit or loss until it's realized, right? These guys might go up in value 100 times more. If I don't sell them, it's irrelevant.
Of course. Yeah.
So,
True.
That's it for sure. It's one of these things that, I don't know. I think overall, I'm not really into subs like for this part. But again, if they come up with something else, like they've kind of done with like the free clay and all that other kind of stuff, if they come out with something and they're like, submit 6 players and, if you'll just get your best scores. One has to be a goalkeeper, obviously, and whatever. Then I think, people would get behind it. They would look at the prize pool and go, oh, brilliant. Well, I can play this risky guy who, if he does play, will bang. And if he doesn't, then who cares? Because there's 4 other guys in that team that will play and throw them in.
Oh, you should propose that. I really like that. Drop a 6 or 7 man team, top 5 scorers, take the points, and that's how you determine your rewards.
Yeah,
I'd be winning. I'd be podium every week with that.
I suppose does sound quite okay, doesn't it? But again, if everyone's on those rules, and again, I suppose you would need to adjust the rewards accordingly, so people weren't throwing Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe into the one contingent.
Maybe every week it cycles through, and like one week you can have it as an extra midfielder. Next week it has to be a forward. Next week it has to be a defender or goalkeeper, whatever.
That's cool.
Kind of prevent people from using the same players every week in there.
That could be something for sure.
So maybe something to do in
for
the
this
future.
game week then, guys, like is it same as before for you guys in terms of Europe? Or are you rethinking? So I know we're kind of chatting about that for the last little bit, but going into this season, are you changing your angle of approach slightly in terms of the division you play, or anything along those lines?
You go first, Cani.
I mean, for me, I'm just happy that I'm getting like half my gallery back playing, so that's kind of cool. But I am going to be remaining All-Star and under 23 for the first, I assume, couple of months, and hopefully then building into like Specialist Limited and such. I really don't want to miss out on that game mode. I've disregarded it big time, which is a big mistake. But I really want to get in there because it just seems so much fun. It just seems like,
if you're listening at home, it's a terrible place to go. Don't go and play it.
Hey, if you still have your Bayern players, put them in there, because Bayern tends to do really well in the first couple of months, and then when the title is already locked down, the scores just go downhill.
Yep.
So first couple of months, go ahead and use your Bayern players.
That's it.
Yeah, I've got a lot of lineups for 292, but also 294 and beyond. Probably looking at like 20 lineups per week, but I took a lot of risks on a lot of players last year. Wilson Isidore, who's now absolutely crushing it. Jedson Fernandez, I bought just as he transferred, and now obviously he's at Besiktas after that time at where was he? Where was he? Like
Jedson was at Rize Sport.
Yeah. So and I've got a lot of players like that. Some of whom have gone up and look like they're going to have a great year, and some of whom are stagnant. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on with them. And some of them have just flopped hard, and they're now playing for like second division teams, non-scored teams and stuff like that. So I'm kind of waiting for the first few weeks just to see who's doing what. But my aim is to like really consolidate my lineups. I don't want 20 lineups where I've got or even 15 lineups where I've got like 50% of them are kind of misfits and don't really work. I'd rather try and sell off a lot of the fodder, even if it does mean taking a loss, and just improving them. And then as rewards come in, then if I get a star and it improves the lineup, I'll throw it in and sell what was there. If I get a player I could just sell for some ETH, it's going to be time to start withdrawing and trying to get that like initial investment back, and then treat it again like a game. Because my ultimate aim for Sorare aside from like loving the financial benefits that you could get from it, my ultimate aim is to have a gallery full of reward only players, and that be it. That's it. I just want rewards in there.
It's brilliant, man. I can dig it.
Yeah.
Just real quick, I'm seeing that our boy Altidore, who plays with Hill, is moving away, which makes me very happy because I think he's trash.
Yeah.
He's going somewhere weird. Is it?
He's going Liga MX.
Liga MX.
Yeah, Puebla. So could be good for Hill because now I believe Video. Yeah.
Okay, I've got a player from that team. Nice.
I think Vidioni is going to play now up top with Bo, and that could be nice.
Yeah, although Bo's he's on the doubtful list this week because of a leg injury. Yeah, so I'm going to have to take him out of my lineup.
I think and knowing my luck,
my luck, he'll play, score 100 points, and I will be sitting there on the sidelines for me. That's where I'm like, do I just play him and risk it and just accept the fact that if he doesn't play, I lost that lineup this week. But if he does play, I'll have a big differential because other people with him won't have played him.
So I would probably put a guy like that in like your third or fourth best team that you don't really think is overly likely anyway. Like, for example, if you were prioritizing like All-Star and whatever else is what we're talking about. So let's say Champ America was maybe like the third or fourth team you're going to build after anything else you were building. Like if if he plays or if he features, he gets a goal. Bo can get a goal from the bench, you know.
Yeah.
I would look at him in that setting versus other super rares because like if he does come off, then it's a good place. You should be around some okay enough cards to allow that success to do something for you. Or an underdog lineup, or I know underdog super rares open this week, in fact, as well. So I'd probably play it somewhere like that, where it's one of those ones where
might sound crazy, but unfortunately, I don't have any underdog super rares. I've just only got quality cards in my gallery.
It's the same for me. I can't do underdog rare.
Oh really? I don't think I never see. You were talking earlier on, and NepentheZ, you were talking about your the guy that was talking to you about doing specialists and all that. I love specialist limited, but I've never messed about with the rares for specialist or underdog because the cards I would need to put in there, I feel like they would be taken away from like my number one, my number two team. You know,
and doesn't that then like make you think you should have a second copy of a card for that? But also, doesn't it interest you? And this is where, and I've only been getting involved in the specialist divisions for the last like 3 or 4 weeks because I also had that same mentality. When you look at have a look at the underdog rare this week. I mean, for underdog rare, okay, it's a bit different. You get the star rares, but for rare specialists, you can win a tier 1 super rare with rares. You can't win a tier 1, unless you're finishing podium and hitting that Mbappe or whatever it may be. You don't have a chance to win anything near as good as a tier 1 super rare. And there's some quality cards in there as well. Like I actually won from America a tier 1 super rare, and he's worth like 0.6 ETH. I just thought that's like really good for an American super rare. Like, some of those D2 rewards are like looked down upon because you can get them and they're worth less than some tier 2 rares. But yeah, I think the prize pool in general for the specialist is really, really good, to the point where it's worth putting your superstars in there where you can.
Yeah, no, I'm actually having a look at the tier 2 pools. It's actually pretty decent, that specialist one. Like Lewis Morgan, Fragapane, like some goalkeepers, as you say, as well, and some other guys that get decisives. And yeah, it's definitely a decent pool. My problem is, like, where's my numbers? I don't actually have, like, in terms of relative, like, ratios, if you like, or whatever. I've not got the correct amount of rares, so I'm just waiting for a screen to load. It's not telling me. Oh, Sorare data's offline for maintenance.
It's down at the moment.
Let me just check my gallery. Sorry, I'll tell you. But like I've got 84 super rares. I've got 84 rares to 34 super rares, and like especially like over the most part, like I'll probably have, I don't know, let's say like 10 teams or something. So I don't really have that many rares to go around. So see, having a full specialist rare team, like I would need to pick like the rare mid and the rare goalkeeper from All-Star D3, and then I would need to take the midfielder from under 23, and then I would need to take the forwards from over there to make that work, and then get an underdog guy to be that L15 under 40, and then I've then got like rare holes, like across the bow, if you like. So I do agree the prize pool does look pretty good, but for me, it's like my gallery's like it's big in some ways, right? But it's not in a lot of others. You know, like I don't have. Like if I did that, it would really be ripping up the game plan for me moving into that division. Like unless I had like, you know, a backup goalkeeper that's now a number one. So I've now got another entry, for example, as well, because you need a goalkeeper for these divisions, of course.
Yeah.
And then I would probably need, or I don't know, it would take a bunch of sequences for me to need to play that division, or me to want to play that division and not worry about opportunity lost elsewhere through like just a bit of repetition.
Stay out of it. Stay away from it. I don't mind.
Yep, but what I'm
liking all this negative attention to it. Like, send everyone elsewhere. It's fine.
Mate, I say the exact same stuff when I listen to Sorare Data and they're shitting on like D2 and stuff like that. I'm like, brilliant. Keep doing it. You know? So, and that's a great part of the game, you know, and it kind of ties into some stuff we were talking about earlier on, I suppose, in terms of like the competition, like how ferocious it is to win and stuff. But, you know, the three of us are probably on the same page with a lot of stuff, but that core of where you put your dime on game week, we're all like kind of different, you know?
Yeah.
And the whole field is that, really, at this point. Everyone's got their own, no, I think I know best. Yeah. You know, and that's brilliant. I mean, I think that means the game's good, you know?
Yeah. What I don't like about Specialist Rare, just to go back on that, is like the liquidity in Rare is just tough. When you want to get rid of these low scoring players that you had in that game week, and you want to sell them on, it's kind of hard. And at the same time, like if you look at the team that you put into Specialist Rare in terms of their value altogether, if you put that same amount of money into Specialist Limited, you probably have a way better chance of like getting something out of it. Agreed. And I personally would prefer a Star Rare over a Tier 1 Super Rare, but that might just be me. I don't know. Like if it was a Tier 0 or anything like that, hey, let's go. Like, let's put a punty lineup and see what happens. But I don't like the fact that only one guy gets a Tier 1 Super Rare in there. And I hope they increase the prize pools moving forward.
Here's why I think that outlook has changed again for me, is because of Specialist Super Rare, where now that under 40 Super Rare that you might get that has no market value now has the ability to be played to help you potentially win a Tier 2 unique in a different tournament.
What was it? Specialist Super Rare?
Yeah, Specialist Super Rare right now. You get Tier 1 Super Rare for second and third, and then a Tier 1 Super Rare and a Tier 2 unique for podium.
Oh, wow.
And so they all of a sudden have some really good value as either your L50 under 40s or your L15 under 60s.
Yeah, that is a good point, actually.
No, it's not. It's a bad point.
It's a good ladder move, I suppose, to get your way into unique fighting, you know? Unique hunting. So, you know, I can definitely get behind that.
I don't think you prioritize it, though, right? You just put in a punty lineup in there.
I think Cani's kind of hit the nail on the head on what I couldn't make into words. Like, I couldn't go out and buy L15 under 40 rares. Like
100%, yeah.
If I had them anyway, and it was like, oh, brilliant, Kyogo is on 39 or something, then I might work a bit. I might try and make something happen then, you know. But yeah, I think Chinese hit the nail on the head. Whereas with specialists, like you can go and get the L15 guys for a tenner, and really, let's call a spade a spade. No matter if you're an adult with a job, like if you lost a tenner, it's not really the end of the world, you know, kind of thing. So picking up unlimited to facilitate a team and have some fun for the weekend, and like, oh, I can't wait to see this guy come off the bench or whatever. Is a buzz.
Yeah, and so one of the things that I plan to do that I started doing with the limited side of things is when I have bought a few limiteds for specialists, and I bought one guy, I can't remember his name. He's like a Scottish fullback playing in the MLS, John Gallagher, but he's a forward card, but he plays in defence. And the first week I bought him, I ended up getting I think I got a Tier 1 limited as a reward. I just missed out on the rare. End up bagging 2 assists on it. And it's like straight away, I was able to win a reward with him and then sell him for a profit because he's now still under 14 hyped. And I thought the idea for me will be every week, I want to have my mids and my over 60 set and then go and scout 2 under 40s and start building up a pool. And I want to do the same in rare and building up a big pool of players so that if they end up skyrocketing, great. Otherwise, I can use them and have multiple options to start moving up the ladder each time. And, you know, if you're picking up Tier 2s, even if it's limited Tier 2s and then rare Tier 2s that are only worth a tenner here or there, once you start getting, a Pavel Trader sized gallery of these guys, all of a sudden you have some power, you know, whether it's buying power with trading or new tournament comes in and you've all of a sudden got the expert, the players available for it. I like the idea of that kind of long gallery growth rather than keeping that tight ship of players where it's like, I know who I've got. Yes, it's a mess and it looks terrible and it's hard to pick on, the best of weeks. But yeah, give me thousands of cards to pick from every week. I'd love it.
Yeah, I can dig it for sure. I never thought about, I was waiting for maybe Cani to come in there or something, so I feel I was talking quite a lot.
Oh, good.
Sorry. But I never really thought about that whole, like, obviously, like, the way they've built this is for it to be that kind of ladder of progression, but, like, your actual kind of thought process to that, actually, that's what gets me really excited is hearing about strategies like that I think, if I was in your shoes, or, like, everyone's in different positions for a multitude of reasons, then I can see why you can get behind that, and I can see, the dream to push for and all that kind of stuff. And it just kind of goes. I think it's a good sign with the new competitions that's the kind of the vibe that they put into the SO5, because as we know, well, a lot of the stuff we spoke about today and we're all kind of speaking about for the last bunch of months, it is like crowded at the top of some of these divisions last season. Like All-Star Rare, Challenge, or Champion. Like you need 450 to guarantee yourself anything.
Yeah.
Maybe you get away with 420 one week, maybe you get away with 380 the next week, but most often it's these guys kicking ass and taking names at such a high level. But now this, like, even again, I just never even look at super rare underdog and specialist anymore, because I'm just kind of like, I probably don't have the cards for it. But maybe I do, actually, now I think about it.
Yeah.
And I'm probably not alone in that situation. There'll be lots of other people that spend less time playing so rare than I do, which is not hard to imagine. And subsequently will pay it less attention,
The underdog's very good as well because it's only 4 players, so no goalkeepers needed. And it's L15 under 50, which I think is like extremely reasonable.
That's reasonable, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I like it in rare. Like there's some really good prices to be had there.
Nice. I'm just excited. I can't
wait.
Like midweeks have been a pain throughout the MLS season, right? But now from what is it, like 2 weeks when Champions League football qualifications and European qualification stuff come back, man, I look forward to midweeks. I look forward to weekends.
Yes.
The last 4 to 6 weeks of the European seasons, I would have sleepless nights. My phone, what's that? Lineups are in. I couldn't give a shit about that. And then it's I'm following a team that I don't have a player for anymore, and there's a goal in that game. I'm like, for fuck's sake, let me go and delete them off of my alert list. And I live for it. I can't wait for the game week to start next week, and then know that my first game is probably going to be on Saturday at 6, and be like, for crying out, what am I going to do between Friday when the game week locks and Saturday at 6? What am I going to do?
Yeah,
it's pandemonium, man.
I can't wait, man. It's going to be so much fun again. Like remembering the high points of last season when every game week was just back to back, midweeks, everything. You had everything going. It was so much fun. I can't wait for all that to come back, because the one thing that at the end of the day, Sorare, of course, we all want to win rewards and stuff, but the enjoyment that I get from watching these games and being able to see my players play, and if they do well, I get ecstatic. I love that part of this game. It's just so much fun.
Yeah, I don't like the part. I want to do an experiment this weekend. I'm going to try and get the best feed I can for a game, and I'm going to score my player myself. And I know that it's going to be different to how the Optas scored it.
Because you're biased.
No, but try and be fair. But obviously, when the camera cuts away, sometimes I don't know, quite often for goal kicks and stuff, you don't see the goal kick be taken and that. So you're okay. There was one game I was watching when I still had Blake, and about 7 minutes into the game, he had 4 times possession lost. And I could swear on my life he didn't touch the ball once. And I'm how, where has he lost this possession? I'm watching the whole game, and I'm okay, maybe it cut away to a shot of the manager, and that's where he lost the ball. And I didn't see that. But I'm going to try and find a game and probably a striker, and just try and score it as best I can, and see if I get somewhere even close or different, and why. And obviously, it's very there's a lot of ambiguity with things such as Jules won and lost, last man tackles and such. I don't know if you saw last week, I tweeted out about it, and the So Rare Russia guy tweeted me. Wilson Isidore got a last man tackle without any shadow of a doubt. It's the 97th minute in the 90s, and it should be 90 plus 6. They have a corner, and the other team's breaking. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Kimki or something like that. And they're down to 10 men as well. The ref doesn't blow, so the play goes. This guy's running down the right-hand side. There's 3 of the other team like there for a cutback. Isidore just sprints back, gets that tackle, and it goes out of play. He blows for full time. No last man tackle. I could not believe it because he was my captain and I got a really good percentage on him. And the guy that finished first and got Jota beat me by enough points that if he got the last man tackle and my Vavro Super Rare, who also should have got a tackle that didn't get awarded, got a tackle, I would have been first. And I know there's like a lot of, I've probably got higher rewards because I've been miscalculated in my favor and things like that. When you're actually sitting there and you're looking at it and you're like, I know this should be like this, and I've missed out on something because it's more painful than being like blissfully unaware as to what's actually happened and just trusting the point scoring.
Yeah,
stuff.
And I'm with you on that. And again, I had somebody come to me the other day saying that they had somebody, they successfully got Teddy Chuma an assist awarded to him or something like that. And they like contested it. They said to me, they reached out to Sorare and Sorare sent them a link of some description to like send a ticket or something. And it get turned over. So
I've done it 3 or 4 times and it's never been turned over.
Oh, have you?
So
I give up on it. I'm just like, sod's law.
and that's exactly it, right? Over the course of a season, it swings and roundabouts. You'll get some points where you don't deserve them.
This year, don't you worry about that.
Dude, Castellanos got an assist last game week where
I was watching that.
Clearly the defender touched the ball. Otherwise, it would never be an assist. He got the assist for it.
No, but did you see his goal?
What?
He got a goal chopped off for offside, and he was like, at the worst case, he was level with the ball. I think he was behind it. But the worst part about that is the assist would have been Amundsen, and I had both of them, not in the same team, but I had them both in teams, and it's not offside. I'm like, no. Double decisives taken away from him.
Yeah, go ahead and have a full stack nep, and then try and
just calculate myself.
Calculate everything. A full stack.
It's funny though, actually, and I spoke about this on stream a couple of days ago. I've noticed a real pattern with specifically Russia and Turkey and stuff. But after the 60th minute, I'm not going to say it's only decisives that get scored, but it seems to be scoring on a trajectory and then just dying after the 60th minute. And I saw Sorare tweet the other day about a game in the Chilean league getting downgraded to a tier 2 game, so they're not going to score it because it only gets decisives or whatever. And I thought, I wonder if in those leagues they don't have the manpower to score games for 90 minutes, so it is 60 minutes of scoring and then goes, because like players like Noboa, who's a notorious AA god, there was one game where he did not score a single point and nothing changed. Passes like in, passes out, nothing changed from the 60th minute to the 90th minute. Not a thing. I've just noticed it a lot with MLS games, with like Challenger Europe teams and things, like just the point scoring just stops. And as I was like saying, like with Noboa, there was one game where after the 60th minute, I was watching him closely and nothing changed. And so I started clicking on all the other guys and nothing was changing. And I'm like, what, are they just standing still for 30 minutes? Like what's happening? So yeah, I don't know how I got onto that.
See, one thing I think that was what I came on to before I disconnected or whatever happened that week, Gremlin. What I'd be interested to know when next time you notice that is, I wonder if there's maybe something else concurrently happening, like maybe another game's kicked off and maybe one guy's having to do two gigs or something.
Yeah.
Because you were talking about manpower with like the Chilean game or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I'd be interested maybe if there was some sort of link next time you notice that, like maybe if, I don't know, you notice it's a half-4 game just started now all of a sudden or something.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. But that's why I want to score a game myself and just do it as accurately as possible and just be like, yeah, I'll be the judge of how many points I get this week. You know?
Do you remember
my guys always get 100. My guys always.
Do you ever really cool? See if we could get our hands on like the DVD that they'll play any new employees at Opta, like how to do your job day one, you know? If we could get our hands on that stuff, that would be so much fun.
So one of my viewers actually used to score for Opta when he was at uni, and he says you have like it's not a keyboard.
Okay.
It's like I guess a
touchpad
ball that you put your hands on, and it's like you press buttons, almost like what's that keyboard where it's like you're not actually typing individual letters, but you're like pressing buttons in combinations and it spells words, like the people in like courts do and stuff, you know, the typologists and whatnot. It's like something like that. So it's like you press two once and it sets a decisive or sets passes for certain players. and you effectively have one guy scoring the whole game for all 22 players, and one guy double checking his work. And that's how it works. But it's like they employ like uni students and things like that, just looking for some extra cash. Where it's like, look, they could be pissed. And like, come home for a night out at 7 o'clock in the morning, like carry on getting blazed, and then be like, I've got a 12 o'clock Premier League game to score here. Like,
God.
Or an 11 or a 5 a.m. K-League game.
Yeah. Although,
guys, it's day game at 5. I need to get up for this.
Cani, that tool that you said you was using now, they have full games, yeah?
Sorry, what?
You know that tool that you said you was using, that scout tool?
Oh, yeah.
They have the full games. Did you say that?
It depends on what level you sign up for. It's Y Scout, and you can actually, like, after the game is done, you can click like interceptions, and it shows you every single interception the player had, tackles, every single tackle, all that stuff. Like, it's
do they give you like a non-TV version of the game where you can actually sit there?
It's actually TV versions. Like, you hear commentary as well, but it's like 15 seconds.
I would like a non-TV version where it's like I get to just watch the full 90 minutes from like bird's eye view, so that I can score my player for the full period. Yeah,
the thing is though, like, they have different coverages, so if one of the coverages doesn't show that tackle that happened, they will have like a Polish version showing the tackle that happened. So if you want to score your players, it could be a really good way, like after the game, go on Y Scout, just click the individual things to be able to see, duel one tackles and all that stuff. Like, it could be a good way of scoring yourself.
I think I've not been on Y Scout for a while, but there's a section for watching the full matches, and I think Chani's right. I think for the most part it is like the main broadcast feeds, but see outside of like the top divisions, it is like it's not a broadcast feed. It's just a feed of the pitch that the clubs will need to have for like goals, for highlight reels, and obviously all the data stuff that they need it for. So it depends on what game it is you're going to score. Y Scout might have it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather pick one that it has so I can see just the full 90 minutes with no like cutscenes and breaks and things like that. Yeah,
that'd be real good fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Well, guys, listen, thanks a lot for your time. I know you're busy men, so I do appreciate it. Thanks very much. Good luck for game week 292.
Yeah, I'd like to say the same to you guys, but I hope you fail so that give me a better chance of winning. I'm joking. I hope you podium.
Oh, and that's
below you.
Harry's left the building. He's back.
Yeah, I hope we all do well, guys. I'll take first place. You guys can have second and third. I don't mind.
Sounds good to me. I'll take it.
Cool. Challenger Pro it is then. See you there. Let's get into all the giveaway stuff before I let you go. I'm still doing monthly giveaways and I'm making it easier to enter. If you want to be entered to win this month's prize or any future giveaways here at the channel, all the same rules will always apply. Hit the subscribe button, you need to be a subscriber to enter, then leave a comment down below. Each month, a random comment from a random video will be selected as the winner, so the more videos you leave a comment on, the better the chance you've got of winning any of my giveaways. All the winners are announced at the end of videos the same way as we're doing here. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on. As always, guys, if you've enjoyed the video today, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. On screen now some other stuff that I've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.